Hi, Angie here. Today we're going to be talking about a film that I missed back in the day. It's a film from 2017 and it's a Passionflix movie and it's called Hollywood Dirt. So it is an older film, but guess what? We don't discriminate here. So maybe you've seen it already and you're just curious to know what my take is on it. Or you just want to hear about it again. Or maybe you've never seen it before and you're curious to know if it's worth the watch. Whatever the reason, I'm just so glad that you're here. You know what to do. Don't go anywhere. Now this film starts off with a voice that is narrating, and it's telling us about this town in the south of USA, in Georgia, and this town is called Quincy. Now this voice is speaking in a southern accent, and I have to be honest, it's not the best. But anyway, she's telling us, and we can presume that this is our leading lady, played by the very, very pretty Emma Rigby. And her name in the movie is Summer Jenkins. Now she's telling us about this town. And this town is very particular because it has 45 millionaires and 3 billionaires. And it all comes from the production of this drink called Crown Cola. And depending on whether or not you were stupid or smart with your money, and if you invested in stocks, that depended on not whether or not you had money. Now this town was very proud of their drink Crown Cola, and if you were a stranger and you walked into town hoping to find or even to dare to ask for Coca-Cola or Pepsi, then you were going to have a problem, and you better sleep with one eye open because they were not having it. Now she goes on to talk about a Hollywood star by the name of Cole Maston, and he is one of the top Hollywood stars, and he is played by a very handsome man by the name of Johann Erb. Now I must admit I do not know this actor. I've never seen him in anything else, but trust and believe I will be looking him up to see what else he's done, because I'm very interested, because he's a very fascinating man. Now she's talking about Cole Maston and saying that he came across this very rare book that no one really read, but he read it, and it talks about this town, Quincy in Georgia, and how particular it is. And he became fascinated by this story and decided to make a film about it. And this film is called The Fortune Bottle. We meet a young fellow by the name of Ben. Now Ben is a location manager, and he is sent by the film company to go and scour to find locations where they can film and where the crew can stay while they're filming. But seeing as this town is very particular, and this town is very, very closed off, and they don't really take too kindly to strangers, so he's having a lot of difficulty finding locations, and he is really struggling, and he's beginning to panic a little bit. Now we meet our leading man, Cole Maston, and we meet him doing an interview where he comes across as a very loyal and loving man, and he's talking about the book he read and the film that he's doing, and he tells us that this is his very first film that he's actually producing. So of course he's very excited about it. And his wife is playing the leading role. Now when he finishes the interview and he's talking to one of his helpers, or one of his aides, it's kind of clear and obvious that his wife isn't really too interested in this movie. And Cole says, you know what, let me go home and surprise her. Well, it just so happens that Cole is the one that gets a surprise because he finds her with another man. Now, I have to tell you this because it sets us up for why Cole goes to Georgia on his own. So, reeling from what his wife did to him and her infidelity, Cole starts seeing women. He starts having menage a trois, and he starts doing all these kind of things. And his divorce lawyer tells him, no sir, you cannot be doing this, because although you're famous and you're well known, so is your wife. So when you get in front of the divorce judge, he doesn't care. As far as he's concerned, you are both equal. You're not going to get any special treatment. So you have to be on point. You have to behave yourself. You need to stop having all these meaningless relationships. You need to keep your nose clean. Well, he didn't actually say the word nose. He mentioned another part of his anatomy. But you get the drift, right? He needs to stop what he was doing and zip it up and behave himself. His lawyer is a bit of a bulldog. His lawyer isn't playing at all. His lawyer means business. So in the meantime, Ben, the locations manager, and our leading lady, Summer, they've become friends, and they're hanging out at Summer's house because she's helping him to find locations to shoot this movie, because it takes an insider to help, because remember, they don't take kindly to strangers. So she's helping him out, and they've gotten pretty close. So one day they're there hanging out, sunbathing, and Ben gets a phone call that tells him that Cole is on his way. They have just landed at the airport, and the airport is about 10 minutes away. So they start running around getting dressed because they were sunbathing, trying to clean the house. But before they can actually do anything, there's a knock on the door, and it's Cole and his lawyer. Cole, as soon as he sees Summer, he has on the sunglasses, and he's like looking down his sunglasses at her. So we get straight away the fact that he likes her, and I like that. There's no faffing about, there's no hanging around. Straight away we understand that he likes what he sees. But you know, he's a big time movie star, and he's a little bit arrogant with it. Now Summer, on the other hand, is not impressed at all by Mr. Maston. So she's asking him questions, and he's just looking around the house, being rather rude and ignoring her, and Summer's not having it. And she says, when you're in my house, sucking up my air and drinking my still water. Now, I can't do a southern accent to save my life, and the truth is, neither can she. Yet here we are. When you're standing in my living room, sucking up my air and drinking my still water, you need to leave. Get out of my house. Get out. So he's a little bit taken aback by this, because obviously no one tells Cole Maston to get out of anywhere. Now, this is my favorite kind of romantic movie. I love the enemy to friends. I like it when they hate each other and they argue, and then slowly you can feel the sexual tension, and it builds up and they end up liking each other. I love it. So, you know, this is getting good. So it's pretty promising, I have to say. Not all movies and not all directors know how to build this tension. So let's see if Hollywood Dirt, if they know how to make this work. Now Cole, he loves her attitude. He thinks her fiery southern attitude would be great for his movie, The Fortune Bottle. So he calls up his director, and he tells his director all about her. Now his director, of course, is saying, well, who is this woman? Where did she come from? Is she an actress? It's like, no. What? We just can't put anybody who's never acted before into such a big, major role. But Cole is convinced and so convinces his director to fly down to Georgia to meet her. Now Cole goes to her and offers her the role. And she asked him, well, how much are you going to pay me? And he said, 100,000. And she said, nope. And he said, what? Are you crazy? I mean, you're a nobody, and you have the chance to act with me, the #1 leading star, and you're saying no? And she said, I ain't doing it for that money. I'll do it for 500,000. And he says, are you crazy? Nobody knows you. So he storms off, annoyed. But then he changes his mind and accepts and gives her the leading role. Now Cole is not happy with his new digs. He was expecting a luxury hotel. Instead, he found himself in somebody's home. Oh, he was miserable and he wasn't happy at all. And Summer laid into him. She told him how ungrateful he was. Does he know how hard they had to work to find him that place? And he best be damn grateful for what he's got. Now to shut her up, Cole kisses her. Ooh, that was the wrong thing to do. She kneed him in the groin. Oh, she got him good. And while he was doubled over, he said to her, well, I won't be doing that again because you're a bad kisser. Now, for some reason, she took that really personally. She took it to heart. It hurt her. And she storms off. And it's only then that he realizes that she lives next door to him, because he's watching her as she's walking off all mad and crazy. And he sees that her home is next door to his. Now the next day, to kind of make up for their little tiff, Summer goes round with a housewarming gift, and Cole opens the door in a pair of black boxers, like Calvin Klein kind of things. And I have to say, I'm not mad at that. Thank you, Cole. Now the gift that she bought for him is the little tiny rooster. And Cole is shocked at first. He doesn't want it. What is he going to do with the rooster? But then he keeps it. And I must admit, it's kind of cute to see him going around town with this rooster in his hand, taking care of this rooster, this little chick, or whatever it is you call a baby rooster. It's kind of cute because he doesn't really want to leave it at home alone. Now we see Summer trying to build a gate, and it's very hot and muggy, and she's there sweating and she's working hard. And Cole arrives in his truck and he sees her and he stops and he offers her some water, which she is more than willing to accept. Now here I have to pause and I have to say, Emma Rigby is a beautiful, beautiful lady. But in this particular scene, I find that she's trying too hard to be sexy. She's pouting, flicking back her hair, and doing all sorts of stuff. Now, I personally don't think that all of that is necessary. She's gorgeous. All she has to do is just stand there and she's sexy. There is nothing more unattractive than someone who is just trying too hard to be sexy. That's just my 2 cents. Now, Summer has an early morning reading at 8 o'clock with the director and Cole. Now, before the reading, Cole goes for a run and he's running around town and he's hearing all the gossip and people talking about Summer and talking about their husbands. So he gets an idea about what the town is about. So he finishes his jog, he arrives home, and there's no Summer. And the director is looking at his watch and saying, where is she? Where is she? And Cole says, you know what? I'll go and get her. So he walks over to Summer's house, their neighbors, remember, and he's still in his jogging shorts and no top. Yet again, thank you. And he walks over and he's knocking on the door and there's no answer. He enters the house, looks around the house, and he finds Summer in bed, fast asleep. She's not covered, but she's sleeping like in a top and her underwear. And she's lying on her stomach with her very perky derriere up in the air. And Cole Maston, how is he supposed to resist? He sees her like that and his blood just starts pumping. And he moves towards her. With his hands, he starts caressing her leg, her backside. And finally, Summer stirs and Cole whispers in her ear. And this is where he says the best line in the movie. Okay, let me get it back. Okay, let me get into it. Let me get into it. He says, "For the love of God, Summer, if you want me to stop, you better stop me now." I love it. Amazing stuff. But of course, Summer doesn't stop him. And this is the first time they make love. And it's sweet, and it's soft, and it's a little bit awkward, to tell you the truth. In moments, it's just a little bit. But you know what? This awkwardness, it all plays part in the charm of this movie. Now, for me, in this scene, their lovemaking, it ends a little bit too abruptly, at least for me. Now, that could just be that I'm greedy and I just wanted to see more. It could be, but I don't know. I kind of get that feeling. And if some of you have seen this movie, or if you're planning on seeing it, let me know. Is it just me who feel that it ends a little bit abruptly? Or am I tripping? Who knows? As soon as they finish, Summer regrets it. Oh, it was a big mistake. But Cole doesn't think so. He doesn't think so at all. But Summer is feeling unhappy and awkward, and she tells Cole to leave. Now, the next day they start shooting. And the atmosphere is kind of tense, because of course it would be after the way it ended the day before, right? So Cole decides to play a little prank on her, and she does not see the funny side of it at all. She is not happy, she is not amused, and it ends up with her not being happy in the slightest. They decide to change the script a little bit, and in the script, Summer has to kiss Cole. And Summer isn't happy at all, because it's not in the original script, and as far as she's concerned, it doesn't make sense, and her character wouldn't kiss him. And Cole is really taken aback. You know how many women would give anything to be in her position, would give everything they had to kiss him, and there she is turning up her nose, offended almost that she has to kiss the #1 leading Hollywood star. How dare she, and who does she think she is? Well, Summer is on the warpath, and she's not afraid to let her opinions be known. But Cole gets a phone call from his lawyer, and his lawyer tells him that he has to be in court with his wife for divorce proceedings, and he has to leave straight away. So Cole, he begs Summer, please, can we just put all the anger and the hate on hold for a minute? Can we just get this scene done so that I can fly back home to Los Angeles to go to court with my wife? And so they do. They work the scene, and while they're backstage waiting to walk on, their hands meet. You could feel the sexual tension. You can feel their emotions and their sentiments. You could feel it building. You could feel everything. So you know what? As far as I'm concerned, this movie up until now is ticking all the boxes. They're getting it right. During the scene, they kiss. and it's a kiss that's very caliente. It's very, very hot and filled with passion. And then Cole leaves for LA. While Cole is on the aeroplane, he has a very reflective and thoughtful expression on his face. And we know and we can tell that he's thinking about Summer. And we like the fact that he is, right? Now, before Cole leaves, he did ask Summer if she would take care of Cocky, his rooster. And when he's away, he calls her to find out if she's doing that. And she tells him that instead of bringing Cocky to her house, she thought that she would just stay over at his place. And he asked her, well, where are you? And she says, she was sleeping and she's in his bed. Now the thought of her in his bed, her skin touching the sheets where he touched, well, you can imagine our leading man, he was all over the place. He was getting very excited, I must say, and he was asking her what she was wearing and things like that. And I have to admit, and this is where I applaud them, the producers and the directors and the actors, because they do something which is very, I don't really see it in films. I don't see it in romantic movies. And seeing it here makes me think that they should do it more often. They had phone sex. And what can I tell you? It was hot. Now, it was, again, rather awkward at times in the things that they were saying. And there really wasn't a lot of flow in what they said to each other. But it didn't take away from the fact that it was a very, very hot scene. I loved it. What can I say? I absolutely loved it. Cole tells her that when he gets home tomorrow, that she must stay at his place so that they can continue with what they just started. So the next day, after Cole is before the judge, he can't wait to fly back home to see Summer. But Summer, she waits for him for a while, but then she feels, I can't do this. And she leaves. And when he gets there and sees that she is not there, you can just feel the man's disappointment. The next day at the film shoot, Cole is a bit prickly because, of course, he's annoyed. He had plans and she didn't wait for him. Then all of a sudden, one of the member of staff comes in and she's all in a tizzy because a news broke out on a magazine or something that Summer had done, and they were afraid that it could somehow impact negatively on the movie. So they're all angry and running around trying to do damage control. And Cole, he talks to her. And it's in this, when he's talking to her, you can see his vulnerable side. I believe that leading men should have a little teeny weeny bit of vulnerability about them. And Cole Maston does. The way he looks at her, the way he talks to her softly. And he tells her how he went home last night hoping to find her because his little soldier was so, it was the size of Texas. Lord have mercy. Oh, the size of Texas. I need to find a map. But let me see. I need to see what Texas looks like. I need to see how big Texas is. Then he asks her, but you like me? And there you see his vulnerability. And she admits to him that she likes him so much that it terrifies her. And she goes on to tell Cole why her and her almost husband, her ex, why they broke up. She explains everything to him. And she explains why the townsfolk treat her as if she were an outcast. Cole asks her if they can put aside the anger, the animosity, the difficulty that they might be having with each other, if they can just set it aside for a while and just be together for that night. And so said, so done, they are. And again, they make love. And it's a nice little scene. Again, they're a little bit awkward, but they are so cute. It's crazy. And they talk to each other and they really get to know each other. And he tells her why he thinks her and her ex ended. And she tells him that she sees him, that he's perfect. And I have to say that in these scenes, Emma Rigby, she has very little makeup on and she looks absolutely stunning. From the night before they make love, in her white dress, in everything, she looks absolutely amazing. She is a beautiful leading lady. Now finally, they have to leave their little bubble. They go home and they find the press waiting outside their door. And Cole makes a point of taking her in his arms, leaning her backwards and kissing her. That way they can take all the pictures that they want to and for the world to see. And he says quite plainly that if they mess with her, they mess with him. And it's here that he makes it clear that he wants to marry her. And he already told her that there is no way that he would ever cheat on her. And the movie ends with the town folk talking nicely about Summer now and appreciative that she was in the film, whereas before in the beginning they only had horrible things to say. Finally they are on her side and she is now one of them. Now what can we take away from this film, Hollywood Dirt? And one of the things that stood out to me is the fact that when Cole offered Summer the job and he told her how much he wanted to pay her, she refused because she knew her worth. And there's so many of us are afraid to speak up. We're afraid to show our value. We're afraid to let other people see our worth. There is nothing wrong in saying no to things if we think we're being undervalued. There is nothing wrong in finding your voice and speaking up for yourself. Because if you don't value you, if you don't value yourself, who's going to value you? So when need be, stand up for yourself. Let your voice be heard. Another thing that stood out to me was the fact that both Cole and Summer had difficult relationships on their backs, right? And oftentimes that happens and we carry baggage from our past relationships. But sometimes we just have to let that baggage go. We have to open our hearts. And sometimes we're so afraid of being hurt again that we just close ourselves off, close our hearts. But we all deserve to be loved. And why shouldn't we? And why not? And sometimes we need to be prepared to let go of all that baggage, to open our hearts and allow ourselves to love again. And because there is something powerful in second chances. One of the pros for me in this movie is the undeniable chemistry between Johan Erb and Emma Rigby. It's true, they are a little bit awkward at times, but it just enhances it to me because it just makes them a little bit more endearing. And they are so attractive. It's just nice to watch them both. Another pro for me, that it's an enemy to lovers relationship. These are my personal favorite kind of movies. So yes, for me, that's definitely a pro. It might not be for you, but it's most definitely a pro for me. And the final pro for me is that the bedroom scenes are done really well. It ticks all the boxes. It's steamy, it's passionate, there's sexual tension, I mean, the hands touching, everything that you want in a romance movie, it's there. The cons to this movie is that at the beginning, especially, the acting wasn't the best. And some of the supporting actors could have been a little bit better. The second con for me is the accent. The southern accent I thought was terrible in certain points and just really exaggerated in others. So yes, at some points it was a little bit annoying, but not enough to take away from the overall beauty of the movie. So is this movie worth picking up the remote control and turning on the TV to watch it? Absolutely 100% yes. It is definitely worth it. As I said before, this movie ticks every single box. So go get your remote and watch the movie. Now to wrap up, there's an Italian phrase that sums up this movie beautifully, and it's dove c'è amore, c'è casa. Dove c'è amore, c'è casa. And that means where there's love, there's home. And that's Hollywood dirt for you. Cole and Summer, they found home not in a place, but in each other. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know if there's a romantic movie that you would like me to review. And if I choose it, I will give you a shout out. If you're still here, thank you so much for sticking with me. I look forward to seeing you again soon. But until then, be kind to yourself, okay? Until the next time. Ciao.